Something I've been thinking about a lot lately is if you're a child of immigrants, especially if your parents or grandparents moved to Canada or the US, we're kind of living in a very important generation because we're the bridge. We're the link between where our family started and where everything could end. And that sounds dramatic, but it's actually true. If we don't carry our culture forward, if we don't learn it, practice it, value it, there might be nothing left to pass down. And I don't want that for us. So, welcome back to the channel, the It Girl Archives. Let's get into today's video. We know where we're from, but do we live it? Most of us know our background. We can say, oh, I'm Jamaican, I'm Nigerian, I'm Filipino, or I'm Scottish, wherever our people come from. But knowing and living your culture are two different things. A lot of us grew up adapting. We learned how to fit into Western schools, learning to talk a certain way, dress a certain way, and like certain music. We learned what could make life easier. And there's nothing wrong with adapting. Our parents moved here so we could have opportunities. But sometimes in the process of fitting in, pieces of us fall quietly. Language gets lost, traditions get watered down, stories stop being told. And then suddenly, culture becomes something you only bring out for special events. How culture slowly disappears. I think what scares me is that culture doesn't usually disappear in a dramatic way. It fades. One generation stops speaking the language frequently. The next generation understands but doesn't speak. The next generation knows nothing. Recipes become too much work. Traditional clothes feel extra. And music feels old. And without you even realizing it, something sacred just slips through our fingers. Not because we hate it, but because we didn't hold onto it tightly. Western life isn't bad, but it's loud. Living in North America means Western culture is everywhere. It's in the media, trends, beauty standards, and how success is defined. It's the default. So, of course, we absorb it. But when one culture is loud and constant, the quieter one, ours, requires effort. And effort can feel inconvenient. But things that matter usually require intention. Culture is more than an outfit. Sometimes people treat culture like it's just an aesthetic. Wear the dress, post the flag, eat the food, but culture is deeper than visuals. It's how our family loves, how they celebrate, how they grieve, how they respect elders, and how they view community. This one might be relatable, but it's the embarrassment phase. Many of us went through a phase where we were embarrassed. Embarrassed of accents, of packed lunches, or strict traditions. We wanted to be like everyone else, and honestly, that's normal. But at some point, maturity is realizing the things you once wanted to hide are actually treasures. They make you different in the most beautiful way. So, what happens when we have kids for those who want to have kids? Here's the question that really hits me. If we have children one day, what will we be able to teach them? Will we know the songs, the sayings, the meanings behind holidays? Or will we say, yeah, my parents used to do something like that, but I'm not really sure? Because once knowledge skips a generation, it's very hard to recover. We can't pass down what we never took time to learn. You can be modern and rooted. And I want to make something clear. Embracing your culture doesn't mean rejecting Western life. You don't have to pick one. You can build a career, love fashion, live modern, and still know exactly who you are and where you come from. You can mix traditional jewelry with contemporary outfits, have both playlists, celebrate everything. Identity can be layered. I would like to quickly mention things that are passed down through culture. So, language or dialect, stories, legends, and folklore, family sayings and nicknames, and humor style. Traditional meals, spices and flavor preferences, holiday foods, and how recipes are taught. Traditional dresses, hairstyles, grooming rituals, and jewelry symbolism, as well as music styles, dance moves, and how people celebrate milestones, religion or spirituality, gender roles, how conflict is handled, work ethic, ideas of love, loyalty, and pride. And lastly, many things like how to handle money, how to respond to hardship, weddings, funerals, birth, customs, holiday routines, and coming of age moments, as we know, maybe like a bar mitzvah or a quinceañera. So, if you feel like you're not as connected and want to connect, it can be small things like calling your parents or your grandparents and asking about their childhood. Learn how to cook one traditional dish really well.
We're losing recipes, and I'm going to find out if that's for a good reason. Rice Johnny, or Carolina Rice Johnny cake.
Research your country's history beyond what school taught you. Watch films or listen to music from back home. Ask about your family's migration story. Every question you ask keeps something alive. I'd also like to touch on some media points as well. So, the Olympics and the infamous Bad Bunny performance at the Super Bowl. When countries walk into the Olympic opening ceremony, they're not just showing athletes, they're showing identity. At the 2026 Cortina Winter Olympics, many teams use their uniforms to reflect heritage, history, and national style. At the Olympics, fashion becomes storytelling. These uniforms aren't just clothes, they showcase where teams come from, what matters to them, and how they want the world to see them. That's culture in motion, not just sport. Think about the way Mongolia used elements inspired by traditional clothing, silhouettes connected to garments that have existed for centuries. Or Haiti, whose look created through a designer known for blending fashion with national storytelling. Or even Brazil, proudly wearing colors and visual language that instantly tell you who they are without saying a word. That's not just fashion, that's memory, preservation, that's culture saying, we are still here, and millions of people are watching. To get into Bad Bunny, he was the first solo Latino artist to headline the show. At the Super Bowl, he performed mostly in Spanish, celebrating Latin music and language at one of the most watched live events in the world. His show included cultural imagery, everything from Puerto Rican street life to traditional symbols, emphasizing identity, history, and unity across the Americas. Bad Bunny used the platform to redefine what American means, naming countries across the continent and highlighting shared heritage rather than exclusion. This wasn't just a performance, it was a cultural statement about representation, pride, and visibility on a global stage. Lastly, I want to get into cowboy culture because I was on TikTok and I seen this video and I seen in the comments the Latinx and Hispanic community saying that they were the first cowboys, which no doubt I believed, but it's really true. And this ties into knowing your culture and knowing where you come from. So let's get into it. So when we think of cowboys, we think, American man, hat, horse, desert, the stuff we were taught or pushed to believe, right? But the real history is that it's way more mixed than that. The earliest cowboys were Spanish and Mexican vaqueros, if I'm pronouncing that properly. Spain brought horses and cattle to the Americas in the 1500s, and the people that worked them were called vaqueros, from the word vaca, meaning cow. Please correct me if I'm wrong. They built the foundation by roping, branding, saddles, and riding styles. Even cowboy vocabulary comes from Spanish. And many of those vaqueros were mestizo, people of indigenous and European ancestry. So from the beginning, cowboy culture was already blended. But that's not the only mix. In colonial records, you'll see people that were African and European ancestry Many Afro descended riders worked as ranch hands, horse trainers, and cattle drivers across Mexico and the borderlands. Then, after slavery ended in the United States, thousands of black men became cowboys. Historians estimate 1 in 4 cowboys were black. They took these jobs because they offered pay, travel, and sometimes a little more freedom than other work at the time. Yet Hollywood told the story later, most of the faces disappeared. So, cowboy was never just one race, never just one background. It was Spanish, Mexican, indigenous, African, mixed, people sharing skills and building something together. I just wanted to add that in there because I thought it was really interesting and really cool to learn, and this is a part of culture and history. So, culture doesn't survive by accident. It survives because someone decides this matters and I'm keeping this. So, if you're a child of immigrants, maybe that someone is you. Maybe you're the one who makes sure that your grandchildren still know, and that's a beautiful responsibility.